Sorry about that. There was a power failure and I got disconnected from the internet. Now we are back. So we were talking about the continue statement and the break statement. We had four fruits in our list: apple, banana, cherry, and pineapple. Now, if you just do a print like this, you can see all the items get printed. No problem, all the items get printed. Let's say you have several statements like this doing different things. You have one line doing some other thing, and another line doing something else. So I'm going to put the last one outside the for loop. Okay. So when you run it, it will go through this one for each of these items, and at the end, it's going to print it. So let's print the item as a print item. Right. You can say print here, then you say the first item, then here, then again go back to the next item, again like this, like that. After finishing it, you come to the outside the loop. That's exactly as what we have learned so far. Now let's say I want to stop the rest of the loop, rest of the current loop, if a certain condition is satisfied. Let's say if my item is banana, I don't want to execute the rest of the code in the given iteration. So I can do something like this. If item is equal to banana, then I can say break. Sorry, not break, continue. Is my mic working? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's say we put a break here. In the break here, if you put a break, what's going to happen is the moment you hit the break, all the loop, the complete loop will exit. It will completely exit and come to the outside. So you can see in the first iteration, you see the apple, line 1, apple, line 3. Then it goes to the next iteration where it is banana. Again, line 1 is executed. You pick the item. Then you hit this break point. You hit the break point. Now what's going to happen? It's going to exit the loop, full loop. It's no longer going to execute any of the rest of the items. After the banana, after the breakpoint, it immediately exits the full loop structure. So it completely comes outside and printed like this. Okay. So if you have a breakpoint anywhere in a loop structure, it will exit the loop. Right. If you're having 100 iterations, if you hit a break at, let's say, 50, then remaining 50 will not be executed. It will immediately exit. The loop is closed. No more iterations. But if you have a continue, things are slightly different. Now look what happened when you run this one. You can see the loop seems almost complete, but it is not. Look carefully. When you have the apple, you have I'm at 1, apple, I am here. So all three statements got executed when it is apple. Then you come to banana. I am at 1, banana, but this line is not there. So when you have a continuous statement, what's happening is it will skip the remaining part of that given loop. It will not exit the whole loop. The remaining part of the loop is skipped. Instead, it will directly go to the next iteration. It will skip the remaining part and directly move to the next iteration. So the moment it hit the continue, it will stop whatever the things underneath it for the this loop and directly jump to the next iteration. In this case, it will be again I am at 1, cherry, I am here, like that, right? Do you got the difference? Do you understand the difference between those two? So let's say you have something inside the for loop. Right? Let's say you have several statements like this, okay? And you need to repeat it, let's say 10 times. And you are repeating one by one like this. So the first time is done. Second time is done. And again, a third time is done. Like that, you are repeating. And at some point, let's say you had a break statement become active. You say this is the break. So what's going to be? You are going here like this, like this, like this. And you hit the break statement. It immediately exits the loop and go to the whatever in the program, rest of it. There's some statement at the beginning. This is the loop. It immediately goes to the rest of the program. It immediately exits the loop. Now, if you look at the continue one, so the same scenario. First iteration, no problem. Let's say second one also doesn't trigger anything. But third time, you have a continue one waiting. So program comes like this and hit the continue statement. Now what's going to happen? It doesn't go here to the rest of the statement. It immediately goes back to the next iteration and start executing again from there. So that's the major difference. Under the break statement, you immediately exit the full loop and go to the next one. Under the continue statement, you just skip that particular cycle. You are only skipping that cycle. You are not stopping everything. Okay. I will try to explain using an everyday example. Let's say there's a teacher who is marking the homework of the students. Let's say there are 40 students. So he or she asks one student to come at a time and show the homework, and he's marking one question at a time. Let's say there are 10 questions. 10 maths questions. So the teacher is marking these 10 questions. He asks the first student to come, mark the first question, second question, third question, like that up to the 10th one. Then ask the second student to come and show the homework. Again, the second student, first question, second question, like that. He was like that. Now break, let's say you have a break scenario. Now then what's going to happen is, let's say the fifth student comes and the teacher's marking the first question, second question, and the third question, teacher finds this student has either copied or made a very bad mistake or didn't do it or something. So the teacher gets angry and completely goes out of the classroom. Right? So now what has happened? there were about 30-40 students still waiting to be marked, but they were all skipped. The moment the teacher hit the break point, it stopped marking the rest of that student's homework, and also skip marking rest of the classroom. Similarly, if you have a list of items or some a number of iterations to do, the moment you hit the break, everything stops. No more running in the loop. You completely exit that loop and go to the whatever comes after that. Now imagine the same scenario, but a different teacher. Now first student, everything is correct, perfect, 100% gone. Second student, again, all the homework is done, correct. Third student, again comes and marks, and let's say the fourth question, again student had made a mistake or maybe copied from the friend. But this time, let's say this teacher acts as a continuous statement. Then what's going to happen? Teacher immediately skip marking rest of the questions for that student. Now I told you there are 10 questions as homework. So the teacher will mark first one, second one, third one. Fourth one is the problematic one. So teacher immediately says, no, complete rest of your homework and come back and show me tomorrow. So teacher send that student back to the seat, but ask the next student to come and show the homework. So now the fourth or fifth student has to come and show the homework. Then the sixth one come and show the homework. Let's say seventh one again had a problem. Then teacher will stop marking rest of that book and ask the eighth student to come and mark. On the earlier case, that was not the case. The moment the teacher saw the first problematic scenario, he did not mark any other student, everything exit. That's like the break one. The second scenario is like the continuous statement. You skip that iteration only and go direct to the next one. Next one, you start from the beginning and start executing. Is it clear? පැහැදිලිද ඒ වෙනස? Yes, no, maybe. Good. Here's the last slide for today. Now we have talked about nested if condition. That means you can put one if condition inside another if condition. Similarly, you can have nested loops. You can put a for loop inside the for loop. Now remember, in the maths, if you are solving, you have to start from the middle one, the most innermost parenthesis, and go outside. Similarly, when you have for loop like this, first, this innermost for loop is executed. Once it is completed, the outer one will be incremented by 1. Then this one is again incremented. Let's say this one has 5 times and this one has 10 times. Inner one run 5 times. Once complete, outer one is increased by 1. Inner one again 5 times, outer one by 1. Inner one 5 times, outer one again by a 1. So like that, it's going to execute. Now I want you to quickly try write this code and try it and see what kind of result you are getting, right? And can you quickly do it? We have about 5 minutes, and after that I will wind up for today. Can you quickly do this one? Okay, so with that, we come to the conclusion of this lecture, and that will be the end of the Python introduction. Any question you want to ask regarding this Python programming language? It has been a little bit lengthy lesson. Anything you want to ask? Okay, if there are no questions, I will finish for today, and we shall meet on next week at the same time. Have a nice week.